We can make it happen.
Enough to make some awesome. Hey, welcome. Are we ready to go yet?
Hey, man.
Soundbar. Hey, welcome to the Off the Cuff show. I almost said shift. That's
But it's
off the cuff.
off the
I
cuff.
wonder if we spell off the cuff with A-W-W. No, it's just too much.
A-W-F.
No, that's weird. That's awful.
T-H-A.
The
Cuff.
cuff. K.
Yeah,
no, we're
we-
good. Off the cuff. Hey, off the cuff. Welcome to the show. What we talking about today, man?
Well.
You gotta
First
get
off,
warm
man,
coffee.
this is off the cuff with Anthony Trucks. We threw last time on Instagram, if you follow us, for ideas,
We did. And the ideas.
game ideas, and we got like I think the post that we put up, you said off the cuff.
In my statement, as talking about what are we going to say? It's a show about what I was just describing in the show. I
Yeah.
said it, and some people caught it. Smart people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We were texting about it. I was like, hey, I think you actually said the name of the show.
Yeah, before.
Potentially.
And we
in
still
the-
going to put it out. We're like, let's put it out and see what people say still, though.
And people said the same thing. So off the cuff. That's
Off the
what
cuff
it is.
and this is just this is literally us off the cuff. So what we're doing right now.
Yeah, like I said, Anthony, what do you want to talk about before we got on? Like we're playing this, and he goes, I want to talk about potential.
That was it. Yeah.
And then we press record.
We're going to go off the cuff of potential. Off the cuff.
Off the cuff.
You got any
with
questions? You
potential.
got any questions of leaders? Should I just start talking? What we want to do?
Well, I mean,
I can just lead the idea, and you could give me your 2 cents as I start talking about things.
I mean, I'll start you off with a little bit of a question.
All right.
I just think a lot of people talk about potential.
Yep.
Like my whole life, I've been, you have tons of potential.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you hear that, like, it's like a good thing, and then it turns into a bad thing.
Yeah, it scares you sometimes. You know you have potential. Like, I got to do something.
Yeah. How do you define
Yeah.
potential as Anthony Trucks? And then, how do you...
Yeah, so for me, we'll say Anthony, and I think that there's a weight where I can say this is Anthony, but it probably relates to a lot of people. Potential is what you are capable of doing, period. That's it, what you're capable of doing. But here's the idea. There's a lot that we're capable of doing.
Right.
Like there's a lot. So if I could I could potentially be a phenomenal employee at somebody's business, doing a great job to help them build their dream. Potentially. I have the potential to do that, but I don't want to do that. Like I want to serve where my heart wants to serve and give back to the world in a space that I want to give back, that I see value. Mm-hmm. So I think first off, potential is what you're sheerly capable of doing. But the same capacity, let's take the lane and say I can do something that I don't want to do, but there's also things I do want to do. And I think along that same pathway, what you're capable of doing, you don't typically see. I had this statement, I think, a little while ago. I was talking to somebody about it, and I was like, at the end of the day, we all have these things that we go after that we can see, but the problem is you're always looking at something you can see, but true potential you cannot see right now. You're not capable of seeing what you're like. I could not put myself in the shoes I am in now 6 years ago. It's legitimate. I could dream, but I would not see myself doing the things I'm doing. I could not fathom it. And not even fathom. My brain didn't lock onto it. And that was one of the big things when I look in hindsight. I'm like, man, a lot of people are going through life seeking this specific thing they're racing towards. But the thing that you can actually do, you're falling short of because you're not thinking to look bigger at any point in time than the one thing you see.
So what you're saying is when people are looking at potential, they actually can't see their true potential.
I don't think we can. I think you get to points where if you are smart enough to focus past where you're at, you can keep looking at more and more and more. But if I set this marker of like, here's where I'm going, in my potential, I could do this. For the biggest craze, I can do this in the biggest part of the world. And we start leading into it. At no point in time do we, at this point, say, is there something past that? We get to it. And then usually when we get to it, typically we're like, oh, I got there. And then we'll say, well, what else can I do?
Right.
And it does level out, but it's like, what if you were consistently thinking about what more? And it's not to say that what you're going after isn't good enough.
Right.
But it's like, what next level can you achieve? And so there's always this perspective of mine with potential. It's like, what are you capable of doing? And at the same time, what are you not seeing that you can do? It's like that box of here's what I know I don't know. Here's what I have no idea that I don't know. That's where our truest potential lies.
Yeah, I think that's amazing because this actually factors into something you talked about. We posted on Instagram a few days ago, and it was titled "Take Action Without Confidence."
Oh yeah, unconfident action, baby.
So I think it ties into like your potential. Like we limit our potential in our minds because we're unconfident with what we're currently doing.
Yeah.
And so we never take the action. So we never reach the potential that we don't know exists because we don't take the action unconfidently.
Yeah. No, I totally get it. You guys try to figure out what Corey's saying.
My apologies.
So in order to find your true potential, you have to think about, why can't I see it? I can't see it because I don't have the confidence or even perspective of what confidence would be that is possible. That's why. So I can't see what I don't think I could potentially do. Why would I see that, you know? So what ends up happening is when you take an unconfident action, it opens your eyes up to, oh, crap, I can do that. And then it's like, oh, what else can I do? Like when I used to own the gym, I had people come to the gym all the time. And they'd be like, I'm going to be like, hey, we're going to try this today. I can't do that, Ant. No, you can push this weight. No, I can't do that. No, I'm telling you. I'm looking at your numbers. I think you can do this. No. And we get up and they do it. And it's like, oh, wow. Like I didn't think I could do that. And the wheels start turning. So now that I'm strong enough to do that, could I do this? Could I go here? Could I try this? Maybe I can go do a race or a run. Now the ball opens up to like so many different opportunities because now they're capable of a thing they didn't think they were capable of.
Right.
So when you start stretching into like, how do I reach my full potential? I love that the catalyst, the starting point is, where do you have an incredible lack of confidence that you can take an unconfident action in? And then if you win and you succeed, you'll step back and be like, oh, wow, now what else can I do?
No, yeah, that makes perfect sense. So many times in my life I've worked out. I mean, you get to the point where when you stop working out and you start working out again, you begin to feel when you know you can push yourself. Like I'm going to the gym again. I went 5 times this month so far.
Oh,
I'm crushing it. Now,
you get it?
It's not a lot when you're looking at the fact that it's almost done with the month, but
it's Christmas tomorrow, bro. we're Christmas Eve getting this, by the way. We're off the cuff on Christmas Eve.
Christmas Eve off the cuff, man. That's amazing. But yeah, I can feel myself going like, I was doing some squats and I was doing some different reps, and I was like, I've done squats, for the last 4 times I've worked out. I could probably up the weight.
Why not?
And I did, and I thought for sure I would have to do less reps or whatever, and I didn't. But anyways, I resonate. That's all I'm saying.
As everybody should. I mean, every single thing that any person's ever done is always where the thing you've done where you all of a sudden get confidence. You only got new confidence, because you didn't think you could do it at first. If not, like if you just like, oh, I can do this, you don't get inspired by something you already know you can do. Like it's not inspiring. Like I can do this thing, but it's like inspiration to this thing. Man, I achieved this. I didn't even know I could do it. I got it done. That's where the level of like the welling inside of like confidence and joy and self-esteem grows. It's not from like, oh, that's what I can do. I can do that. Like when you get normalized to that, it's not exciting anymore. But that new level of seeking full potential comes from you stepping into a space where I was like, I didn't know I could do it, and now I can see that I can do this kind of thing.
What about I'm thinking of like a person, because I know there's people that I used to work at jobs at, and we'd be, they were my peers.
Yeah.
And they would be promoted to being a manager of some kind. They crushed it in the sales, and because I was in sales or whatever they were, and they got promoted. And I would watch, and different companies have great training programs, and they help and they choose great leaders. Some of them don't. But what about the person that was crushing? They did their job.
Yeah.
They just end of this year got a promotion. Now they're a manager, and they're just going like, I didn't even know my potential was here.
Could get me here.
Like I thought I would always just be the sales guy, or I'd always be the the social media poster, but now I'm managing the whole whatever. What would you say to them in terms of like how to actually apply their current knowledge, their current situation, with the potential that's being revealed to them?
I think you had the same realization that there's more than you thought was possible, and you apply yourself differently. When I say apply yourself, you put effort in differently. So if all of a sudden I've done this thing, and I was doing the work I was doing, and then all of a sudden just turned into something new, like, oh, this feels good, and had this cool outcome, the realization of that process, like I wasn't doing anything. Hold on. What are you doing? My children are knocking on doors. I don't even know. I'm assuming they're outside playing.
Yeah,
We're just going to
probably.
assume that. But no, if I look at the realization of the fact that this here is like, hey, I was doing work. This took place. I wasn't even trying. What if I try? Like, what if I really step back and say, man, like I wasn't even trying as hard. I mean, I was working hard, but I wasn't looking at this. But then this took place, and now I can say, like, man, I'm capable of something. Like, wow, what if I try? And so it's the same process. You just step back and say, what does trying harder look like? What does proactively trying look like? Because a lot of us are just doing things that we feel comfortable doing because we like to feel comfortable in life. We want to be able to do just enough to do what we love to do. How can I work just hard enough to go home and sit in the couch, right, and feel okay about myself?
Yeah.
How can I do just enough at the gym to eat that cheesecake? Like, legitimately. This is how I work sometimes. So we start looking at potential. It's like my coaches in college used to have a statement of play 1 inch out of control. And 1 inch out of control means going that space. It feels a little bit crazy, a little bit abnormal. But when you get to that level, you get stretched a little bit more and realize there's more capabilities. You ain't got to go crazy. Like, you don't have to go. I'm not talking about go out and just go wild. I'm saying when you get to that level where you're like this, okay, I feel I'm in control. Mm-hmm. If you don't feel unsettled, like 1 inch unsettled, there's more. There's always is. And that 1 inch more is what creates that new area, new life, new change, the new money you want, the new relationship you want. It's that 1 inch out of a normalcy space that creates this new stretch. That's where your potential lies. Eventually 1 inch over time becomes 20 inches, 30 inches, multiple feet, yards, you know what I'm saying? Like, but a lot of people are playing in life at the same level they've been for years. They didn't play an inch, haven't played an inch in a while. It's just too scary. And they're wondering why they don't have that 20 inch life.
Right. Yeah, they're not pushing themselves to be more, to be better.
Yeah.
So how do you staying along the line of this person is now a manager. They're overseeing people, and now they left this place where maybe they saw a little bit of their own potential, but it was differently than what where they're at. But now they have to instill a drive within people around them to reach a potential that maybe they don't even see for themselves. How would you do that?
First thing is, you don't tell people, I did it, you can too. That's the typical thing managers do. They're like, well, I did this, you could do that too. Like coaches in college, well, I did this, you can. Like, I'm not you, man. It's a different game. Everything's different. I'm in a different space world. So first off, you don't lead in by saying like, well, I did this, so you can. Because that just is like, okay. Like, it's immediate. You're going to lose buy-in. Like, buy-in's gone. What you do at the same time, though, is you think if you are going to be able to have that be something they think in their head, they've got to be able to see, one, that you're leading by example in what you do. So if you're asking people to do something that's going to be higher than their potential, you better be the one to talk to me about it. And the only reason I believe you're the one to talk to me about it is if you are doing it. So I think the problem we have with a lot of leaders is that leaders aren't leading. They just not like leading themselves. They're not leading the charge. They're just like saying, go do this. But then they sit back and hang out and watch you go do that. Like, I'm not a fan of that. Like, if I say to do something, I'm going to do it myself before I have anybody do it. And if I ask them to do it, I'm doing it myself. Like, my kids have this rule that if we're out in public and we touch a piece of paper or plastic, or like if there's garbage on the ground and you go kick it, you pick it up. Just the rule. So and usually we'll pick it up if it's just on the ground anyways, but specifically if you kick that or do something. So there was a day, that just happened many times. There was a day maybe a year ago, we're out and I get out of a car, I'm in a parking lot and I see an apple. I kind of kick the apple and like this, I want to see it blow up. And my oldest son listens to me and goes, hey, Dad, pick it up, right? I was like, man, this is someone had already bit the apple. It's dirty. It's in like 10 pieces now. And I look at him and immediately I was like, if I don't do this right now, I lose the ability to get this kid to do his homework. You know what I mean? Like the little things that matter. So I went and cleaned the damn apple up. Like, I just had to do it. It needed to be done. So that was the next stage of getting everything created. Yeah?
Tony's here.
Oh, Tony's here?
Yeah, he just needs to. What do you need to do?
Hey, Tony, you want to come in, Tony?
Tony.
We're filming off the cuff. What's up, dog? We're doing work, man.
I know. I didn't want to bother you. We heard you out there. We just brought you a little Christmas
sorry.
something.
Oh.
Say Merry Christmas.
Hey, Merry Christmas, man.
And then we're going to get out of your hair, man.
Hey, no worries. I'll come
It's
shake your
all right.
hand. You can come shake my hand. It's okay.
No,
I don't want to ruin it.
No.
Hey, don't touch this, you guys.
We hit record. We just start going. We're just doing a little show.
Merry Christmas to you, brother. How are you?
I'm Corey. Nice to meet you, Tony.
Good to see you guys, man. Merry Christmas. Pleasure to meet you. I've seen you before. But pleasure.
See, this is his studio.
This is this is the studio.
Setup.
Kind of his setup.
Yeah, we're off the cuff, man. It's the show's called Off the Cuff. This is perfect. This is just life off the
If
cuff.
you
Yeah.
ever need a guy, I'm ready to sit right there.
Hey,
Oh.
hey, seriously, we have to come in with
We'll
this.
bring it
Seriously.
in.
I'll do it. We'll talk about my glory days. With
I would like to hear
There
all
we
the
go.
craziness.
There we go.
Those were glorious.
Hey, I'm 100% with it. So I'm gonna catch you in on that one of these days. Seriously, watch.
Anytime. I'd love to do so. I'm
All
gonna,
right.
Go around. And
Hey, no worries.
Something on the garage. And we'll be good. Have a
Sounds
great
good.
Christmas. Nice to meet
Hey,
Thank
nice
you,
to meet
too.
you, Tony. Have a good one.
Yeah, she came sneaking in. That's off the cuff, folks. I don't know what we're talking about.
We were talking about. Oh, give me a second.
Everybody, you guys know what we were talking about. We were talking about potential. Oh, leading by potential.
Oh, you
My
wouldn't
son,
be
the
able to get his
apple.
homework. Yeah.
The apple.
Yep.
So I had to get this. I had to pick the apple up and get the apple cleaned up. That's a big thing, right? So lead by example is a big piece. The other thing is show them how to lead. There's this great YouTube video that shows people, like this one guy dancing at a park. And like he starts to charge and talks about how to get the second person who comes to join him who's first making fun.
Right.
He
I've seen this
shows them.
video.
He shows them how to do what he's doing. Then they're like bought in, and the third person comes because they saw how he dealt with the first person. They're like, I want some of that. And after a while, a whole movement. Everybody's over there dancing because now he's not crazy. Now he's normal, right?
Right.
So that's one thing is show them how to do it. And then with the potential is here's a problem people have. You can never want for somebody more than they want for themselves.
Say that again.
You can never want for someone more than they want for themselves. It causes havoc in relationships. In a business, like a manager overseeing a staff or anybody, it could be a relationship if it's intimate, your kids. If you do that, you're causing problems because they're always going to feel like, man, I'm not good enough for this person. Causes havoc. So whenever I look at things, if I want my kids to want something, I can't want it more than they do because then I'm yelling at them because they don't want it. Why don't you want it? And then we have these arguments. So when I want my kids to be great at something, I try to get them to do the work to buy in so they want it. And so we're talking about potential. If I see, for example, I see my son's a phenomenal track athlete,
Right.
and I want him to want to be a better track athlete. But I can't want it for him. I can't run the race. I can't make him want to push hard in that last rep on the 10th of 10 reps and be great because it's going to give him an edge when it comes to the C's. Like I can never be in his head. I can't make his body move. But what if I can get him to do it? Like how do I get him to reach that potential? And what I do is I invest in the areas that he wants, and I show him the pathway to what would be great. I open the door of like what could take place, what could happen. I'm trying to show him what to want. And then when I get him in a line of wanting it, what I'm doing at that point is trying to pretty much embrace and teach and support the actions that he would need to do to get there. Because when he claims it, people protect what they create. So I said a moment ago is I want to get him to create it. The more somebody invests in something, the more bias that they have to want to return. So if you want your staff to do something, an employer, or you're leading someone to do something, and I want them to want this like I'm talking about, what I have to do is get back and say, okay, great. How do I get them to take like minute actions in this area to where they're eventually saying like, I do want to be good in this. This is who I am. Like I'm creating this. I'm going to protect this with the actions. So for example, for my son, track athlete, want to be faster in track, do all that kind of stuff. Like we get him to invest. So it's like, okay, cool. I'm going to first off, just get him to practice. Just get him to practice. Then have a conversation of, you've been doing a lot of practice. Do you want that to be for nothing? No. What will happen if like, you just did all this track practice, you show up every day this year, and then all of a sudden, like, you sucked and didn't get any better. Would that be good? Nah. You want to be better? Yeah, if I'm putting the time in. Like, now I have this want from him. Okay, you're putting the time in. Well, that time you're putting in, how can we maximize that time so make sure it's better? Well, maybe I should push a little harder. Maybe I do a little bit of it. Maybe I get a separate coach. Cool, let's do that. And now what I'm doing is, I'm not even at that point yet. Now I'm just having him want to do more in that time. Well, now he's investing his time, his energy, getting the cleats or spikes that he wants. Like he gets to show up in these spikes. Like he looks better. He's getting the clothes. He went and got a track hoodie. When I saw him buy his track hoodie for school, like, oh, we got him. Because now he is bought in. Now he's like, I'm the track athlete. And then nobody wants to look stupid doing this thing that they want to be seen as being great at. They've now bought in. They're going to show up. I know he's going to go to practice, do the work. I know he's pushing to stay ahead of the track. And then like when he's talking to me conversationally, it's not about whether or not he should run hard. It's like, man, like this happened. How do I do this better? How do I push harder? What should I do? How to take care of my body? He's now protecting himself with the actions because he is creating that guy. So when you look at the leadership aspect, you got to have people be able to want it and then support what they now want. It helps you win. The leadership aspect, man, that's difficult, and having people like reach full potential. Because the thing is, you got to open up this area, and what you're doing in doing that is, as they're trying to create and protect that, they're essentially going to be doing things that put them against this wall of them not being capable of something on the path. And then they get that new little sense of like, oh, I can do this. And I promise you get to borrow confidence from past actions and apply it to future actions. So if I did this thing and I accomplished it and I got I won a little bit. I got this confidence. I can borrow that, easily borrow it and apply it to a new thing. Well, if I could do this, maybe I could do this.
Right.
And it moves the needle a little bit. So reaching into someone's potential is something where they're going to create it baby steps. Baby steps is what helps create the potential, and at least a viewpoint that more is within you.
Huh. I hate to do this, but I open a text where there's a voice message. And
Read
it will
it.
disappear.
It's off the cuff, bro.
Let's see what this is about.
Down. See, look, I'm recording a message. Corey, this is me teaching my mom how to do it.
Oh, is there a girl? Oh, his girl's teaching his audio recording of her teaching her mom how to do a voice message. You know how many people?
I thought it was gonna be important.
You know how many people hit me up with? They'll hit me up with messages. So when I respond to messages, I'm probably more in a leaning over towards like voice response,
Right.
because I don't have to worry about texting and driving. I hit record and go, and there's so many people that I'll be messaging in like LinkedIn or something. Like, I didn't even know this feature existed in here. Like,
Yo, I have to tell you, I tell this to people when I love the voice text feature, and I'm like, man, sometimes my thumbs get tired.
yeah,
Like, I don't know,
Holding?
like my thumbs literally get tired
sissy thumbs.
where I'm just like,
Oh, texting.
texting, like, you know,
Yeah.
especially with like a long text, like if someone's like,
too much.
hey, like if someone asks you this question, like, hey, like what I just asked you a second ago, I just got.
Imagine texting that.
You imagine
Never.
texting that whole thing? I
Not
would.
today, Satan.
That's a phone call. That's a voice message. That's a sending them
All day.
this clip right to them.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, so you were saying something that you were talking about seeing when you're trying to get buy-in from people that you're overseeing,
Yeah.
or relationships, and you have to show them that you're about it as well.
Oh yeah.
Like you're kind of saying like you have to go pick up the apple. If you didn't pick up the apple, then your son, like you wouldn't be able to get him to do this homework.
Yeah. Example, man.
How do you? Because like I know there's a big difference between like a player and a coach,
Yeah.
right? There's great coaches that were terrible players,
Very much so.
and there was great players that are terrible coaches.
Mm-hmm.
And what is the, in your opinion, what do you think is the difference between what's the mentality shift that has to happen when you see your full potential, when you transition from player to coach? Because now you're trying to get people
To go do the right thing.
to go see their potential and go win, right?
Yeah. Well, I think the thing is whenever you're like a player, your job is to play to what you deem to be your best ability. Whereas a coach's job is to get you to do more than you see in yourself, because they can see the potential.
Right.
So when I'm in the game and like, you know, I'm playing the game, yeah, I can see certain things that I'm capable of doing because I can do them, right?
Right.
But then the coach always goes back and they see and show you things you couldn't see. We talk about wanting somebody to want something.
Yeah.
I can't want what I don't know exists. So if I don't know that this new level of potential or opportunity exists, I'll never want it.
Yeah.
So you're asking about a coach. A coach's job is to present the possibility that it works, to show me that it's possible, to line me up and say, did you see that? No, I never saw that. Like, yeah, that you could do that. Oh, okay, now I can. It's like even in a football play, those of you guys might watch football or have played football, there's certain plays. And there's like things that go on, and as long as your job is done in that play, you can go do something else. So for a long time, I thought if I want to be the best player in the team, I just got to do my job. So my job in one play would be like, don't let anybody outside. Okay, great. I'm going to stay right here in the side. Nobody can run outside of me. I'm going to hold my ground there. I would do that for a while. And the coach would be like, dude, why are you still over there? What are you doing? The ball went that way. But I got to hold the outside. If the ball goes away from you running, do you think that he's going to turn? How often do you think he's going to turn and come all the way back around? He's like, if it goes that way, just make sure that you track and just kind of stay on the outside. So if it does go, you can get upfield and make sure it doesn't get outside of you. But if he's over there, the outside is now over there. I was like, oh, so he's like, you can potentially make a play if he cuts back. So if you go and hold your ground especially if he crosses the line of scrimmage. If he gets past you,
You're right.
well, if the
Yeah.
ball's there, why are you back here? He's not going to
Yeah.
go here if he's over here.
Yeah.
So I got this, okay, now I can, when the ball's hiked, if I see it go that way and I do my job now is done. There's potential in this play for me to make a play by tracking his butt down in the direction I should go. So my coach could see that, but I couldn't see that.
Right.
So it's now I can do the best to what I know, but I need someone to show me what I can do so I can have more potential to be able to do more and see more.
That answers my question. But you just touched on something I think is like really, really important because, I think a lot of the times, at least from my perspective in life and then my perspective of like looking through your comments on Instagram, your comments on Facebook, and looking through the content we create to impact people, a lot of the times people want to know what their potential is. They want to get to their potential and they want to chase this potential.
Mm-hmm.
But they don't want to do the steps in order to even be able to get to that potential.
No,
And so
scary.
it would be as if you're going, your job is to, in your analogy, your job is to hold off the outside,
Mm-hmm.
not let anyone pass. But you're like, I want to reach my potential of making this huge hit if he runs over there. So you try to run over there right away before taking step one, which is
Do your job.
Do your job first.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that I'd be curious as to how you would like, motivate, how you would talk to the person who's right now in the space. They're watching this. They're on your Instagram right now, and they're going, man, I know I have potential to make a great play,
Mm-hmm.
and I want to go make that great play. What are you going to tell them right now? Their job to do right now is this.
To make the play, or don't mess your job up.
Well, I mean, their job in order to be able to get to the place where they can make the play.
Yeah.
What do they got to do right now to put themselves in the position, to reach a potential
All right.
of
So
making a great
first
play?
off, football, we're talking about plays.
Yeah.
There are multiple plays. The problem a lot of people have is this thought that there's just this one play, and if I botch it, I'd never get another play. So like they don't want to mess up, therefore I don't take a risk. And risk is the thing that people have. Like there's perspectives on risk. So we're talking about making the big play, because you make the big play, you make the name, you get paid. Like you just da-da-da-da-da. The best players, if you watch them, they're doing these things like, dude, how did he do that? He might have been fast and strong, but there's a part of his brain. It's like, I'm just going to do this. I played with Troy Polamalu. Troy is literally, we'd be in meetings and coaches would say, hey, young guys, do not do what Troy just did. Like he'd have to cover like a complete other side of the field. He'd be down in the line of scrimmage. He's got to cover the deep third. Like, what is Troy doing?
Yeah.
Pew! Thought he'd gone, right? So Troy was a guy like that knew the possibilities, and he knew things that nobody else could see, but he just had a weird perspective of seeing past what most people would see. And so he also knew if I messed up, like, hey, there's going to be another play. I can make it right. So he made mistakes. I've literally watched film where he went to the wrong hole, touchdown. But he came back another play or two later, got a pick. Like you can make it up, right?
Right.
So I think people are so afraid of going and making a mistake because they think it's not gonna pan out, or what if it does? What if I make a mistake? But that's the only way that you actually have that amazing win. That excites you and thrills you and lets you see there's new potential. So if you're sitting here right now saying, man, I want to go chase this new thing, let's try this new thing, you got to go boldly do it. We're talking about the unconfident action.
Yeah.
Just go and do it. Just go try it. And the thing is great is we may not see the potential in us, but if you see somebody else doing it, what if you could potentially do that?
Right.
Like the potential doesn't have to be something you see for you just yet. What do you see that scares you outside of you that somebody else is already doing? Maybe you want to get on stage and speak. Maybe you want to start a nonprofit organization. Other people are doing it. You could potentially do that. Let's go take a risk.
Right.
Let's try it out. Well, what's it going to hurt to get a little more information, to make a couple asks? And I think a lot of it comes down to people not liking the sense of, I don't even want to call it failure. I don't know if we don't have a word for this that I know in the English language that will put what this is down on paper, what I'm about to say.
Okay.
Failure is this thing that we see as so weighty and so heavy.
Right.
But it's not a failure to have a pain around having somebody say no to you because you asked to, hey, can you invest in this or try this?
Right.
We'll call it failure, but it's not failure. It's just like a little bit of a emotional discomfort. It's what it is.
Yeah.
People are afraid of emotional discomfort.
It's would it not just be rejection?
Yeah, but I think rejection even is also the same thing as failure. It's like it's rejected. I'm at the end of the game. Like, this is horrible. I got rejected. Like, I'm going to stop now.
Yeah.
So there's a sense of rejection, but I think that there's a fear around this little emotional, like, this isn't going to feel good. And we don't, as human beings, want to subject ourselves to anything that won't feel good.
Right.
That's really the biggest separation between a lot of people's success. They call risk what might happen if they feel an emotional discomfort. Like, they didn't say yes, or I wasn't great at this, or didn't pan out the way that I thought it was going to pan out because I had stupid expectations, right? But really, it's just like, I might have a little bit of emotional discomfort, therefore I don't want to try that or do that.
Yeah.
And even if it's something
Absolutely.
that I have a dream of doing, there's a lot of people, you for sure, you've dreamt of doing something. I don't know what it was. As you thought of it, at one point you tried a little bit to do it.
Yep.
And didn't work out perfectly. So what you had was a little bit of emotional discomfort, and you said, I don't like how that feels. I don't want to feel that way again. I'm going to go do something else. Or if somebody asks how did it go, I make up a great excuse as to why it was horrible, or I just don't feel like doing it. When deep down, like, I really still want to try it, but I don't want to subject myself to the emotional discomfort again.
Right.
But that's the only way to get everything you want. Everyone you know, every person you know who has had success, we call it like, I had to fail forward. No, we just navigated the emotional discomfort, didn't shut down, and kept subjecting ourselves to it, and it got littler and littler and littler because I didn't keep running into the same wall with just the same experience. I had like a different tool. I chopped it down. I hammered through it. I had something more from the previous attempt.
Right. And I know this off the cuff show is not for Corey Agopian's life advice, but if you want to try something,
Let's do it.
to help you get past that. I heard this. This isn't coming from me. I heard this from someone else. Whenever you go out to eat, ask for 10% off of your bill.
Interesting. Does it happen?
I've asked for free milkshakes,
Yeah.
and I've gotten yeses. But like,
I've gotten yeses.
I've gotten yes. I was at In-N-Out, and I said I want a milkshake, and he said okay, and I looked at him and I said, but I don't want to pay for it, and he went, okay.
That's great.
But the thing is though, that's such a small area. I think that would be.
I get it though.
Like it could expand outwards, because then you don't have your dream attached to it. Like, your dream isn't to get 10% off for the rest of your life.
No.
At least I hope not.
But the dream will be an awkward moment. You have to do something.
But if you could get to the point where you don't feel uncomfortable asking for 10% off, when you go to like ask for something from someone that you actually believe in, like the product you're selling, your dream, your passion, like, you're gonna be like, I don't care.
Yeah. Life will go on. You know what it is? It's the I don't know, man. I think when it comes down to it, you're gonna have to, like, the people that I know that are incredibly successful, they know how to make it awkward and live in the awkward space.
Yeah.
That's what you're talking about. Like, that's what we're talking about. The emotional discomfort is like, I had a buddy, Richie. He always would say, man, hey, don't make it weird, bro. He said all the time, hey, bro, don't make it weird. Now, I was like in different stuff, but like in this, I like to make it weird in life. I like to go into environments and I like to I ask weird questions. I do odd stuff. I make odd statements. And I don't do it for any other reason than, like, typically when I'm doing it, I do want something. But if I don't make it weird, I never get that. People aren't going to willingly give you stuff. Your dream isn't going to happen, or something you're trying to achieve it's never going to happen unless you do something weird. And weird is simply abnormal, which means not your normal. But the reality is your normal has what you have, and you want more. You're going to have to do something abnormal. You're going to have to make it weird, bro.
Yeah, no, I think it's this level of pushing yourself to the point. So you said it is 1 inch, like crazy or insane.
Out of control. 1 inch out of control, man.
1 inch out of control. I think that's like that mentality, like having that mentality shift to be able to, like, focus on going, I'm gonna push myself just a little bit more today.
Mm-hmm.
Just a little bit. I'm gonna push myself to being a little bit uncomfortable.
Yeah. And go ahead.
I just think it opens up possibilities.
It does.
That you don't expect.
And I think the problem is we have a stupid comparison perspective. It's the dumbest thing that we compare in odd ways because it limits us. Because what we do is we say, I'm going to do a little bit more. And then what we do is we compare it to somebody else's a little bit more.
Right.
And it never needed to be that. It just needed to be more than you could do. So we'll look at somebody and we'll say, well, I can only focus for like an hour on this thing before I shut down. But that guy, he's doing it for 5 hours. I'm never going to get there. and we shut down.
Right.
When it's like, okay, I just need you to go. For you to be better, you need to give me an hour 15, then maybe an hour 30. But damn it, build up to it, right?
Right.
But if you remove that person who's doing 5 hours, like they have someone in their head going, the 5 hour person saying, but they're going 10. You know what I mean? Like no one really sees the level they're at. So just focus on like you siloed, because that 5 hour person was at one point at 1 hour. It just built and built and it built. And so I think unfortunately too many of us are stopping before we start, because we're looking at somebody else's, what we think is their end result, when really at the end of the day, that may not be what we need to do ever. Like it's not even in the ballpark for us.
Yeah, I think it's this idea, and social media is great in so many ways, but this is one of the ways in which it can be really bad, is that you can sit and watch, and I think even people that are watching this right now can sit and watch you and go, wow, I'm never going to be able to do that.
No, that's not the truth at all.
But it's like I know Anthony previous to doing this, and Anthony previous to doing this was max working 8 hours a day of training at times, and then like going home and doing whatever. But he wasn't at the gym. Maybe he was doing other stuff. He was scatterbrained all over the place. Then you look at Anthony now doing everything he did in those 8 hours plus 4 hours at home. He's doing it in 4 hours. He's figured out how to
refine it
and be efficient. So he's taught himself a little bit over a little bit over a little bit to
it was
be
just
efficient.
a ton of discomfort.
Yeah,
You know how many arguments I've had with my wife? And it was forcing me to have to figure it out.
No, I don't know how many.
Money lost is a lot, man. A lot of dumb arguments, a lot of money lost. And that's the thing, is people look at a guy like me and go, he's a coach. What's he coaching? Like, until you get into it, you have no idea how much you need it. Like, there's people who I start with, like, I love this part of it. I have conversations with people that be with my sales team, that want to talk to me, and we'll go through, like, seriously, sometimes like 7, 8 conversations, and they're just like, I don't know, and then they get in, they're like, holy crap, I wish I had done this like years ago.
Right.
Like, and I love those moments, because then the reality I can tell them is like, look, that's the same thing your clients are going through. That's the same thing you've went through. Look what you're doing. Shortcut the process, man. So it's like there's so much that you don't grasp that you can learn from a person who's walked that path if you just lean in to try to learn it. So that's one part of my perspective. But then at the same time, it's like we were all forced to do it. And because we were forced to do it, few people who were forced to do it to be better, which is a guy like me, come back and try and teach it. We just go do it and say, I'm going to take over my corner of the world. I'm going to do my thing. I'm not going to show you what it is. I'm going to do. So for me, I'm like, all right, I got my success. I've done some great things, and I continue to keep building and growing in a different vein. But at the same time, I'm saying I'm going to have success by helping everybody else get success.
Yeah.
Like I've collectively made that my push, right? Some people are like, I'm going to learn the stock market. I'm going to just eat the money. I'm going to do my thing. Nobody gets access to this, right? But I'm like, all right, I figured this out. Like, I'm good. I'm happy. I got some good goals. I have no comparison to the guy with the Bugatti and the private jet. Like, I'm good. I do my thing, but I'm going to bring the rest of everybody along.
Right.
So I'm going back and trying to show people. I don't quite get the trolls who are like, yeah, he's gonna charge you money to show him how to do it better. Yeah, that's we call it college. We call that any kind of environment.
I was just gonna say, how much like a college, like I spent $40,000 a year for a private education that I probably. I mean, that's a yes and no. I mean, I could argue right now that don't waste your money on school, but I probably learn more from conversations like this, talking to someone who's actually doing stuff that I want to do and then doing it and applying it than I did in college when it's all theory.
Yeah, it's all theory. It's not being practiced.
It's all theory. It's all theory. It's book. It's what if and what if here and some stuff like that is good, right? It's good to have that, but to spend that kind of money, like if you were to take that same amount of money, the amount of debt people are going to take $100,000, and you go, I'm going to spend $100,000 on paying some of the smartest brains in the world to teach me what they're currently learning.
It's priceless. Now, obviously, you're going to be a doctor or a lawyer. We're talking about difference. Don't understand
but I
what
don't
we're
think
talking
you're
about.
coaching any
But
doctors or lawyers
don't
on
go
the craft.
and pay like $40,000 a year for like a sociology degree. Like I mean, that's just go to Arizona online.
Yeah.
But here's the thing too is I think people look at those things and say, oh, but they're accredited. Like I have a client who works in that realm, and it's just some people in a room that determine what's accredited or not. You know what I mean? Like there's a structure to it, but it's not like changing the world. It's a game, man. It's a money game. And then what I do, I sit back and say, well, yeah, maybe I'm not accredited, But my information, like the day the book was printed for most of the college classes, the person who's running the class, who wrote the book, who you bought it from, it was outdated when it got to his office done. You know what I mean? For the most part, like they made it, but the world keeps moving.
Right.
So what I'm doing is I'm trying to be like, this is how the world should work, is I'm consistently learning, but I'm never just saying, here's my story. Potential, we're talking about potential. One of the things that hurts my heart, like it hurts my heart a lot, is there's some people with some incredible stories and incredible experiences, and they just want to be speakers. And I'm like, that's all you want to, you just want to speak? Yeah, because I can speak it. It's honestly, it's sometimes easy money for them.
Yeah.
Go tell a story, learn it powerfully. But I'm like, man, if you want to be great for this world and really make a difference, figure out the psychology, the science, the behaviors, find out behind the scenes. How do you do that? Unpack it. So what you're talking about on stage, someone can then go home and say, I'm going to do what this person did in my life. So like when people ask, what do you do? Like, I'm a speaker and a coach. Like I'm going to talk about it, but I'm going to coach you through how to do it. And I think too many people are not understanding that speaking is a limited ability to be able to make a true impact. I can inspire 100%. I can motivate 100%. Value to it. Yes. Is it the reach and extent that somebody should stop at? No. You should be able to reach deeper and say, okay, I got this story. Here's what I get. Potential. What's the potential you could do with your story? What potential is inside of that lesson that you don't even know is being taught? How do you teach somebody how to potentially do it for themselves? Like there's such a wall that gets just put up from people saying, I just want to speak, make my money, and go home, and I'm going to hang out, and it's good and well. And there's a very great value to that. I do the same thing. But I was like, man, I want to make sure that I'm seeking the full potential of what I can give to the world by extracting this, doing a little more work, and being able to say, hey, here's what my story is. Here's what you can do with that story.
Right. No, I think I've heard this. I've heard this phrase, and I think it's on my LinkedIn profile or something. I'm chasing, a better version of myself
Every day.
Just every day, I want to become the best version, who I was created to be. I'm not there, but I want to, whatever I'm created to be. I just want to continue to become the best version of that.
Yeah.
And today, I'm created to be what I am today.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not created to be what I am today for the future. So like today is who I'm created to be.
Yeah.
But I need to maximize. Like in a week, I'm not supposed to be who I am today.
Mm-hmm.
Life doesn't work like that.
No, you have to keep growing. And
You have to.
And the thing is, that's a very arbitrary thing too, because nobody knows what does that mean. And here's what I'll tell you: it's not about anything more than the daily stretch. Like, what's that little thing I'm doing every day that right now is overwhelming? This is the identity work that I do, is like, what right now overwhelms me? What feels like it's heavy? And if you think about things you do easy now, at some point before, they were overwhelming and heavy. But you did them enough. And over time, they became this thing where it's like, oh, it's just what I do. So think about trying to actively do that for things that move the needle. Like, what's going to make your life better? What's going to make Corey better a week from now? What are those little things that you can do and then that they seem overwhelming and heavy right now? Mm-hmm. How do you do those things enough? We talked about earlier, my son investing. How do you do those things enough to where, because I've done them, not only do they become easier because I've navigated it better, but it becomes like part of me to do it.
Right.
To where if I don't do it, then I feel weird. Like it's awkward to not do that thing.
Right.
That's when you start having, like, I talk about success being your second nature.
Right.
When you get to the point of like you just do these things that most people think about far too long, it's just you on the drop of a dime without even thinking. You just do it. It's like a knee-jerk reaction. Those are successful people. Those are the ones that are reaching full potential because they know what it feels like to be normal. Imagine being normalized to being stretched.
That would be like just an amazing 1 inch out of control lifestyle.
It'd be, dude. That's how people are.
You're chasing discomfort because you're comfortable, and it's not so much that you're chasing discomfort for discomfort's sake, but it's for the goal of bettering yourself. So your discomfort is actually producing like a fruit that's valuable. It's not just, ooh, I like being uncomfortable.
Yeah, it's comfort being being discomfort.
Yeah, like I can imagine like some people, like, oh, you just want to be uncomfortable. It's like, no, there's YouTubers in the world that all they do is do pranks on people that are uncomfortable because they like the
it's odd.
It's like weird, but I mean it's funny, but it's not like, not saying this, but I know people. But anyways, it's I'm gonna say it. It's if that's what your entire life was, and all you were trying to do was just be uncomfortable. Like, I don't think you're actually becoming better. Like, I think if you just settled for, like, I'm going to just do as many pranks on people.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. So don't just do it to do it.
Right.
You have to have a direction of like, what is a thing that'll make me uncomfortable? Yes, I get that. Like, I can't just say, go do something that makes you uncomfortable. People throw it out there. Just do something that makes you uncomfortable. Like, it's uncomfortable for me to walk around town naked, but I'm not going to do that. You know what I mean?
I hope not.
So the thing is, realize that we're talking about in a vein of a direction you want to go. That's more of a realistic thing.
Yeah.
So it's like, find a way to be uncomfortable. I think the best way to look at it is when you can be the people that are amazingly successful. They're the ones that are at peace and at ease and grace in the spaces that the majority of human beings feel incredibly uncomfortable or unexperienced in. Though, because we look at them, those are the stars. How do they get on screen and how do they cry on demand and talk like that? Must be super uncomfortable. How do they do a sex scene with the entire crew there? That's just, and we look up to them. So if you want to find that successful level, like I'm not saying go and be on screen naked. I'm just saying go and find that thing that would be something that everybody else is like, I don't know if I could do that, and get so normalized in being there. Like the frog in the water. If you put a frog in hot water, it feels odd. But if you put the water and let it warm slowly, it'll boil itself in the pot of water. That's how this whole thing builds. Right. Like those are the people but when you're around them, if you're around highly successful people, they feel awkward and different. How they think, the things they say, how they retort, what their questions are of you. It's a different human being. And I love those environments because it let me know like how I'm uncomfortable. So I've got to a space where like I love feeling the discomfort. Now it only happened like football. Like I'm on a grand stage with college and then the NFL. Like every day you show up there, and if you fight it every day, you never succeed. But when you like lean in, like, oh, I embrace this. Yeah, that's you get those guys with chips in their souls. You can play a long time. Like I do phenomenal in those situations that are crazy. My wife freaks out when things go awry. I love it. Like I'm almost at more peace in chaos.
Right. So
but I've conditioned myself to, which is why I can rise. Whereas most people, they run away from all these things that scare them. It's like, yeah, you run away because it goes crazy. I sit here and sip some tea.
Yeah, no, I think it takes a different type of person to enjoy the space of pushback, to enjoy the space of discomfort, of chaos, of I don't know what to do. And there's certain areas in which someone does well in it, and I mean, there's certain like frameworks where you don't do well. You know, like I do much better trying to figure out my own business than I did working at a startup when I was an employee. Yeah. But no one knew what was going on. But it wasn't my business. But I'm in my business at sometimes going like, I don't know what's next. But I do better figuring that out than I did working for someone else. So it's understanding where you fit in like you might be great at like the chaos that you have, might be a teacher in a third grade classroom. And that's where you're like, I don't even hear these third graders.
But somebody else freaks out.
And I'll go in there like, what?
Yeah, that's your genius.
And so like, you know, figuring out your position in your lane is super important.
But then also creating that too, because there's areas where we know that the wall we have to climb to get to the place we want to get to may be one that I have that discomfort. Right. I call them identity walls. That's not who I am to do that. It's too outside of my box. That's not who I am. And so the problem we run into is a lot of people won't scale the wall or knock it down. So you have to figure out, like, what are the things that make me feel uncomfortable? And you can usually look up to the person in your industry or space, like, I want to be like them. I want to do what they do. Maybe not like them all around. Maybe that one area that they succeed in, you want that for your life. But along that journey, there's a wall they knock down. And if you're not willing to knock it down or climb over it, you never get there. And usually it's because it brings discomfort. To have to make those calls, to have to do those jobs, to have to make the asks, to have to learn that thing like, it's just not who I am. And that's the discomfort we're talking about. When I talk about feeling comfortable in that, and I almost desire it, because I do know that whenever I get to the point of like everything is smooth, I'm somehow sliding back downhill. Like most people think like when you get to comfort, like, I can stay here. No. The world's moving. The world's always moving. So if you get to that level of like you feel comfortable, you're sliding. You're not just staying still. You're sliding downhill. So like I'm always like, where do I get to feel like I need to feel a little bit stretched, a little bit uncomfortable? What do I put back in? What do I change? What have I stopped doing? I'm always questioning that. It's not because I feel less than. It doesn't make me feel bad, but I'm like, I want to make sure I have what I need in the moment that I need it, because I have the skill sets, I have the whatever it is when the opportunity presents itself. Oh, I'm still on my game.
Right.
Not, dang, I didn't have that, or I didn't know that. I should have read that book. Like, no, let's stay here and keep that groove, because when it pops up, an opportunity goes, I'm normalized to discomfort. This little bit of discomfort, like, oh, I got this.
Yeah.
I lean in, I exceed.
Yeah, I mean that if you have that mentality, if I can get to a place where I could coast, that'd be the same as thinking. Like if you don't quite grasp that, I guess it would be the same as thinking like, well, I worked out for 6 months and now I have a 6-pack. If you were aiming for a 6-pack, or now I can run this 6-minute mile or whatever it might be, and then you go, well, I don't need to train anymore.
Yeah, right.
I'll be able to stay here. I got to this place, but the second that you stop,
you detrain. You slide downhill, man.
you
actually
go backwards.
Yeah, you detrain. You lose gains double the speed you gained them.
Sheesh.
It's crazy, right?
So that's why I'm feeling, my workouts.
Okay.
Like,
We'll call it that. All 5 days.
yeah,
All 5 days. Every day is
I've got
discounted.
it back.
So essentially, over the last month, you've gone more out of shape because you've only gone 5 of 25 days.
No.
So you're 5 times more out of shape, or 4.
But no, because I started going because I play basketball every Sunday night. So
That's your workout?
no, that's
Okay.
I've been to the gym 5 times plus, so nine times
All
I've
right.
played basketball.
Get your heart rate up a little bit. I get you.
Yeah. So I'm still getting some
Stretch the
work in.
potential, bro. And here's one thing too about potential. Potential only gets stretched when you get to that outer edge of what you feel like you can do. I think we always talk about like I'm working. Yeah, you could be working hard, but you're not working as hard as your dream needs you to work. So this is one I always looked at. You never were getting better until the moment you thought you couldn't move anymore. I told people in the gym, it's a gift to get to the point of I feel like I'm going to puke or I can't walk or I can't breathe. And I'm like, the gift is you push yourself to your outer limits and you told yourself I can't go. So in those moments when people start shutting down, I always would yell at them, this is the moment you've been working for. Every single thing you do past this, guarantee you're getting better. Before this, we weren't sure. At this moment, we are positive that anything you do is making you stronger, giving you better luck. You're getting better. But you had to work yourself to that edge to press the limit. So when we talk about discomfort, I'm not talking about, I'm kind of uncomfortable. Where are you? When have you got yourself to the point of like, I can't do this anymore. I can't go anymore. And you take the extra 15 or 20 steps. You go a little bit more. Now we're in that rare air. That's that road less traveled. That's the road we got to get on.
Hey, you know what? We're gonna wrap the show up
Ribbity
there.
rap,
because that's something to sit on. Anyways, we'll be back. Actually, what he just said will literally be a social media clip that will be posted.
Yeah, it will.
On the internet, on Instagram and Facebook, and Twitter, and LinkedIn.
Tony Yayo. Hey, get it out in the world, people.
Is
Hey, we're
going up.
coming at you 2020. I'm not going big, but I'm going small.
You're going real consistent.
That's the
what
thing.
it is. It's not gonna be real big splash throwing the rocks. It's just gonna be a lot of pebbles that are just gonna always
And
be
they
thrown
pile
in.
up, make an
They
island
pile
out
up.
of it.
We can make an
You
island.
you don't just dump one thing
Consistent.
in sand. You just keep dumping sand. All of a sudden, you got Dubai. Big, beautiful place out of the middle of nowhere.
gonna-
Watch.
we're
Hey, I ain't stopping y'all. I
Building
recommend the same for you. Hey, stay this 2020. Go small to be able to create big. That's a good one right there. So you better take that, strip it, rip it.
Man, that's another one.
Strip, rip it, and
It's
dip
another
it.
social media clip. Anyways, thanks for joining us today, Anthony. Awesome.
Yeah, you too, Court, man. Appreciate you. Thank
Hey,
you
man.
for tuning in, people in the world, because we do this for
Absolutely.
you guys. I mean, we sit and talk. These are off-the-cuff conversations, but the real aspect of it is trying to create something cool for the world. There's a lot of different things out there that we hear and see, and a lot of it's entertainment. Let's be honest. You like watching weird farty cat meme videos. It's what happens, but we want to create something real for the world, and I'm not the only person doing it. I'm not saying the world doesn't do it, but I think there's different people that resonate. You might resonate with us. You just might not. We still love you. We're just, don't watch anymore.
That's okay.
Or share with your friends so they can watch. Anything you need from us, let us know. Send us messages, comments, DM. Any comments you have, we love to see them. I personally respond to them. So pop them below the video. I mean, anything you want to ask questions of, we'll talk about literally anything. And here's the thing, I always tell people that, but they rarely take me up on it. You better take me up on it.
No, he does.
We'll talk about anything if you want to know some
I've
dirt.
I've filmed with him on things, and he
Go.
goes. Anyways,
All right.
That's a wrap. Merry Christmas. If you don't celebrate Christmas,
Yeah, and a Happy New Year. You're going to see
Happy
this
New
after
Year's.
these, so I hope you had a Merry Christmas, and I
Yeah.
hope you had an amazing New Year.
at least you enjoyed some time with the family and you
Yeah.
slowed down a little bit before
Yeah.
you hit the gas. in
And I'm
2020.
making my prediction. I don't know what happens, but the Ducks are playing Wisconsin in the Rose Bowl next week, and my prediction is the Ducks pulled out 31-28.
You know, it's
31-28 Ducks over Wisconsin in the Rose Bowl.
You think so?
Whenever you watch this, the score's already been had. So I mean, that's just saying.
I should just pull this clip out and post it
You should post it.
like tomorrow.
Do it. Post it tomorrow.
I'm just gonna post this clip tomorrow.
I'm with it.
Anthony Truck says
Ducks pull it out 31-28.
31-28.
Yes.
And if not,
If there's no if not, that's what's
no,
gonna happen. I don't know what you're gonna do. The Ducks don't lose.
I don't know. I was gonna try to,
No.
maybe
Yeah.
put a bet,
Birds
but
fly
no, it's okay.
over Badgers. So I just made that up. It didn't make any sense. Anyways,
They do.
Take care. God bless. See you guys next time.